Hello and welcome to today's Masterclass. My name's James Holmes. I'm one of the citizenship and residency by investment experts here at Marlow, Bray. Today, the topic's Europe, and more importantly, how you and your family can build roots into the European Union. Just give you a quick snapshot of what you can expect in the next 25 to 30 minutes. We'll firstly just quickly cover who we are, how we've helped a number of families over the last few years. We'll then touch on why Europe. Why has Europe been so highly sought after by a number of individuals and families? More importantly, how do we get into Europe? What are our options? And also look at some important considerations to note when evaluating those options. How do you choose which program is best for your circumstances? As with anything in today's day and age, we've also got to cover the political landscape. What's happened in Europe, what's going to happen, what's happening, and what could happen in the future. How does that affect us when looking at these options more closely? And why now? Why is now the best opportunity to look more closely at those options and really start your journey in towards obtaining that European residency and citizenship? We do also have the live chat section. So if you do have any questions throughout today's session, please do put those down in the chat room. Our team is on standby to answer those questions in real time. We'll also have time to go through a couple of the questions which were sent through prior to today's masterclass. And you'll also notice we've got a free exclusive tool for all attendees. So make sure to stay to the end and we can share with you that exclusive tool, which will assist you on your journey towards getting a new residency and citizenship. So just really quickly, as I said, for those maybe seeing us for the first time, my name, as I said earlier, my name is James Holmes. I'm one of the citizenship and residency experts here at Marlow Bray, licensed with the Investment Migration Council. I've been helping clients for the past 5 years on their options globally in securing a new citizenship or residency by investment. Some of the key clients that I work very closely with are non-resident Indians. Their motivations have been quite varied. Some, it's been a case of wanting a higher ranking passport for mobility issues. For family units with young children, it's looking at education opportunities or employment opportunities, or just in general, future planning for life, where they spent a number of years outside of their home country. In addition to that, Americans in recent years have been a very popular clientele that we've worked closely with. Their motivations could be stemmed primarily through safety and security. It's obviously a very changing political landscape in the US, but in addition to that, longer term planning, things like healthcare. Healthcare is very expensive in the US, so getting access to jurisdictions where healthcare could be cheaper and in some circumstances free have been primary motives for a lot of American nationals that we've worked closely with. In addition to non-resident Indians and Americans, though, we've worked very closely with clients in the Middle East, particularly from Lebanese or Jordanian backgrounds, and their motivations stem very close to what I've just mentioned earlier. The key thing, though, is we're global. We work with all types of clients. Our role is just to understand what's important for you and what you're looking to achieve. Now, when we look sort of at our background, so an experience spanning over 18 years, the programs we look at, so 15 different government authorized programs, that's really important. We're only going to deal with programs which are authorized by the governments in the countries that they're issued in. Over the last 4 or 5 years, though, we've helped over 350 families in securing a new citizenship or residency by investment, and happy to say that's with a 100% success rate. So, quick intro over. Let's get into why we're all here today, and that's Europe. Now, why Europe? Why has Europe been so highly demanded in particularly recent years? As I'm sure you can tell by the accent, I'm British, so I used to have a European passport until the wonders of Brexit. So I do know the benefits pretty well. But really, in a nutshell, What is it? What is driving this? Effectively, you're not getting just one passport or access to one country with a European passport. It's a gateway to 27 countries. When we look at things like creating a plan B, you now, in effect, have 27 insurance plans. You and your family have the right to live and work anywhere in the European Union. When we talk with clients, particularly in high cost living jurisdictions, take Singapore as an example. Retirement in Singapore seems pretty difficult. Costs are very high. So accessing locations where cost of living is much cheaper becomes much more important when we're looking at longer term planning. As we said earlier, the Americans, healthcare becomes a key factor in all of this. In Europe, yes, you'll have access to the public healthcare system in the particular country in which you are a resident of. But with that European passport, those benefits now expand to all member states. With the European health insurance card, you now have access to healthcare all the way throughout Europe. So the next time you're on your skiing trip with the family, God forbid something happens, but if it does, at least peace of mind, you won't be hit with an extortionate hospital bill. When we look at family units, as I said earlier, education becomes a key factor, and with that European passport, you've opened up education opportunities throughout the whole of the EU. The key thing here is home fee status, so you'll be treated as a local. If your daughter was looking to study medicine in Ireland, that now becomes a reality by holding a European passport. And as I said, the key thing being treated as a local and not being required to pay international school fees. And finally, for those who are looking at mobility, take the example I mentioned earlier, Indian passport holders, which is currently ranked 69th in the world with access to 72, 74 countries visa-free. European passports or tier 1 passports, that ranking is now 4th or 5th in the world, giving you access to over 180 countries. So again, depending on your motivations, there's a lot of options that we can achieve down this route. So that's why Europe's been highly demanded. But the key part is, how do we get there? What are our options available to us? There are a few options. And whenever we're posed with lots of options, it's always a key process to go through a process of elimination. The first question you should always ask yourself is what's the end goal here? Is the end goal to just have a second residency in Europe? It's a plan B, somewhere you can call home if needed, giving you Schengen access and no need to, say, elevate to the passport? Or is the end goal getting to the outcome of holding the citizenship in Europe? If it's just the former, all of these programs offer that. You'll always get a residency in Europe, giving you the right to live and work in that particular country, and from a travel perspective, giving you access to the Schengen zone for a period of 90 days every 180 days. So in effect, 6 months of the year. For clients who are just motivated by that, there's some great options at very cost-effective prices. Take Latvia as an example, starting at 60,000 euros. Gives you a residency, it gives you your Schengen access. For individuals and families who maybe want to elevate to the citizenship, then there's a new questions we need to ask ourselves. And the first question always is, can you move there immediately? Or do you want to have some flexibility and spend time in your current or your present country of residence? Reason we ask that, well, where do most clients come from? They're typically in good earning jurisdictions, but also low taxation environments. Great places to be. They also have children who are in the education system who maybe need to finish that secondary education. So they're restricted of how long or how quickly they can move. If we evaluate our options though, say you can't move there immediately, looking at options on the right-hand side, that being Greece, Latvia, and Italy, and looking down at row 5, which is physical presence for citizenship, you'll notice here that there is a requirement to be in the country. needing to spend 183 days every year for the next 7 and 10 years, respectively. So, again, if flexibility is important for you, that may be a bit of a challenge. We look at options on the left hand side in Portugal, there's very low physical presence requirements, just needing 7 days every year for the next 5 years. So again, gives you that flexibility to continue your life whilst parallel working towards obtaining that new citizenship. The second question always comes down to is budget. These are investment-based programs. So what is the budget in mind? What do you feel comfortable with? Yes, Portugal is flexible. Yes, Portugal is a quicker option to get to the outcome of citizenship, but it does cost more, currently at €500,000. If we look at options at Greece, yes, it does require more time spent in the country and an additional 2 years, but it comes at half the price and into an asset class of real estate. So it's really a balancing act of what's important for you and the family, but also what's important for you from an investment amount. Other key questions we'll always ask, though, is the speed in which you need that residency. Is this something you need quickly, i.e. getting access to Europe and getting access to that Schengen visa-free route? Or are you happy to wait a bit of time? The reason I ask this question is let's look at the government processing times of these programs. For some of them, they're very quick. Greece, 6 months, same with Latvia. If we look at Portugal, it is a slow process. It's been well documented. This process has got strong delays. Currently, processing times around 18 to 24 months. So if you do need that residency ASAP, again, Portugal may not be the right fit down that route because it does take long, extended periods of time. For those who don't need the residency as quickly as others, a real key update just to note regarding Portugal is in the naturalisation law, which came into effect last year. Now, the 5-year clock for citizenship has changed from date of approval to date of submission. So the 18 to 24 months that you're waiting for your golden visa to be issued is actually 18 and 24 months in to your 5-year ticking clock to getting to the stage of the citizenship. So it's no longer time wasted, which is a real significant update for clients who are looking at this journey more closely now. You will notice next to the Golden Visa in Portugal, there's another program called the Highly Qualified Activity Visa. Now, this is a program designed for highly qualified individuals, people such as entrepreneurs, C-suite executives, academics. Obviously, the program comes at a lower price point. It's also a quicker process to getting into that initial residency. Key thing though is it's not a program for everyone. It does have strict eligibility criteria. If you would like to find out whether or not you qualify for that option, please reach out to me. My details will be listed below this masterclass and also a direct link later. I'll be more than happy to run you through those options and see whether or not that program would align closely with you and the family. So just recapping, lots of options available to you and the family. Key considerations you need to note or think of is, firstly, what's the end goal? Do you just want a second residency, or do you want to get to the stage of the passport? If you want to get to the passport, when can you move to that country? Can you move there immediately and spend extended periods of time and make it home, or is flexibility more important for you? And thirdly, and more importantly, what is your budget? What do you feel comfortable putting towards obtaining this new residency and this new citizenship? Now, we've covered why Europe, we've covered what are options. Now, what's happening in Europe? What's changing in the political landscape? One of the biggest changes which came in the last couple of weeks was regarding Malta. Malta had a very popular citizenship by investment program and was tipped as the gold standard, very thorough and strict on their due diligence of applicants going through the program. But it's now been deemed illegal by the European Union, who felt this was too transactional, i.e., clients, it was just citizenship for sale as opposed to creating genuine links to the country and then obviously obtaining European Union access. There was also some concerns over security threats with individuals obtaining the Maltese citizenship. But the key thing here is not just Malta, which is shut down. Malta adds to a running list of programs which have shut down in the past 5 years. So let's take a look at what has happened in Europe. If we cast back 5 years to 2020, Cyprus used to be one of the most popular programs, and that also was shut down. In 2023, Ireland had a very popular program, which again closed down. And in 2025, again this year, Spain was closed down in April. They had a golden visa program. The reasons for their closure was more directed around real estate prices increasing in Spain, which is a conversation for another day. But again, what's very evident, we've just lost two European programs in the same year. Things are getting more difficult and doors are closing. So you might ask me why I mentioned on our agenda, why now? Why is now the best time to start looking at your options and starting this process more closely? Well, there are three parts. One, which is very evident, doors are closing. It's becoming more difficult to get into programs and our options are wearing thin. Secondly, price. Prices are going up. A great example here would be the Portuguese golden visa. If we look back 2 years ago, before the rules changed, the investment was nearly half the price it is now at 280,000 euros. It was also into an asset class which most people are comfortable with, which is real estate. So again, prices are going up, prices aren't going down. But one of the most important things, which is really worthwhile noting, is protection. The best place to be is in the system. Once you're in the system, you're protected from any future changes. And we've experienced this with a number of individuals with changes in programs. An example here, if I go again back with the golden visa in Portugal, when it first started out, it was into real estate in residential property. That then changed in 2022 to commercial property, and there was brackets of what the minimum investment amounts looked like dependent on the location in Portugal. Was it in a high density area or a low density area? Then 2023 came round and real estate no longer qualifies. The key part though, each applicant which entered at each stage has been protected from any future changes. They are grandfathered in. So if you are actively looking to start this process and achieve that outcome, as I said, the best place to be is in the system, not outside of the system. Be protected from those changes and get in whilst you can. So we recap today sort of what we focused on. We focused on why Europe, why is it being highly demanded? 2, how do we get into Europe? What are our available options? And what are the key considerations? We then touched on what's happening in Europe and what potentially could happen in Europe. And more importantly, why now? Why is now the best opportunity to look and commence your process and start your journey in getting a new residency and citizenship in Europe? For those who are maybe new to our services, I think it's just worthwhile touching on sort of how our approach works. And as I said, today was very European focused, but we do offer a number of programs outside of those jurisdictions. So if you were wanting to explore your options more closely, a typical process for us really starts with you. understanding your needs, your wants, what are your objectives and your motivations. That way we can then look at programs which align directly to those, give you those pros, those cons to make an informed decision. Once we find a program which is right for you and you want to look at that more closely and start that journey, we'll always do a due diligence check, give you peace of mind that you will get through the program in which you're embarking on. Where we really come into play, though, for the most of the part, is the onboarding side of things. We understand clients have very busy lives. You've got a full-time job, you've got a family to look after. What's one thing you don't have, or at least have scarcity of? It's time. And our role is to give you that time back. So the stakeholders at play throughout this journey, whether that be the government departments, the law firms we need to liaise with, opening up your bank accounts, your tax identification numbers, the supporting documents, and the application documents themselves, we and our team will take care of every facet of this process for you and make this as easy and seamless as possible. And finally, what we're all here to do is get that visa approval and the end goal of the citizenship in time. Now, I mentioned earlier about our exclusive tool. So for those who would like to get access to this, you'll notice the QR code on the right-hand side. Now that is a direct link to my direct WhatsApp. So scan the QR code, message me quotation, and I'll be able to send through to you our free quotation tool, which will be able to assist you on what program is a right fit for you and your personal circumstances. As always, if you've got additional questions which might not have been answered today, you can always message me those on WhatsApp. And if you'd like to schedule a one-to-one, please feel free to do so as well. Now, I can see the chat has had quite a few questions which are being answered. We did have some questions which were sent through prior to today's call. So what I'll do is just quickly go through those and hopefully that answers some questions that you were looking to get answered. The first one that we'll quickly focus on is on the application. So who can I include in my application? Really good question. Now, typically with golden visas, you can, as a main applicant, include 3 generations. So what does that look like? You as the main applicant can have your spouse, you could then have your children, and you can also have your parents. When we look at parents and children, we have to prove dependency. So as a rule of thumb for parents, we typically say parents over the age of 65 are always accepted because that is above retirement age. For children, we have to prove financial dependency. This is demonstrated in 2 formats. Number 1, they are single, so they are not married. And number 2, they are in a form of education, so they are financially dependent on you. The key thing, though, is it's not an investment for each member. It's one investment, and that allows 3 generations in addition to the main applicant. Question here is regarding, can I work with the golden visa? Really good question. Now, obviously, there are different golden visas we look at. All golden visas, bar one, do allow you the right to work in that country. So, example, Portugal, with your golden visa, you have the right to live and work in Portugal. Greece, on the other hand, allows you to live. It doesn't give you a work permit. So that's just one thing to bear in mind when evaluating those options. If you're looking to work in Greece, it may not be the right option, or at least be a factor to consider. A question regarding the investments and what type of investments are best for me. Obviously, investments are a personal choice, and what we typically do is go through on a one-to-one basis, understanding what's important to you, what are you comfortable with, and that way aligning investment which marry up with your objectives. So what I would probably suggest is reach out to me directly, and we can take that offline and give you a more personalized understanding of what those investments look like, particularly focus on your needs. Another question here is regarding tax. So what are the tax implications when I get the residency or the passport? Really good question. Now, as a disclaimer, we're not tax advisors. We can put you in contact with tax advisors in the country in which you're looking to embark on. As a rule of thumb, though, and macro overview, in Europe, particularly take the example of Portugal, taxation is based on residency, i.e., numbers of day in the country. So if you spend more than 183 days in Portugal, you would be deemed a tax resident. If you spend less than 183 days, you are not a tax resident. But again, based on a personal circumstance, we can put you in contact with individuals to give you a greater understanding of how that works, particularly to your situation. One final question was regarding dual nationality and do I have to give up my current passport if I obtained the Portuguese passport? Really good question. Now, the first point is Portugal does recognize dual nationality. So they allow you to hold both their passport and your home country passport. Now, the big question here is, does your existing passport allow you to hold dual nationality? An example here would be the Indian passport does not recognize dual nationality. They also do have the OCI card in which they can apply for, but if they were wanting to obtain the Portuguese citizenship, they would have to give up that Indian passport as it stands currently. But look, that's the end for today. Now, I hope all your questions have been answered. As I said, if they haven't, please feel free to drop me a WhatsApp using the QR code below. Also, my email is available as well if you'd like to reach out to me on that format. Things before I let you go. Two things. One, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is a great resource to keep up to date with programs and their changes, but also client experiences and reasons why they chose a certain program. Is there similarity in their situation and yours and the factors they went through to come to that decision? In addition, if you are on LinkedIn, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I post very regularly on that platform, particularly updates and experiences in this space and how to navigate complex sort of situations. But for now, it's been great speaking with you all. Make sure to look out for our next masterclass. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye for now.